right, can I just get started?
Yes, please.
Okay. So hi everyone. Welcome to the Media Studies demo class. For those of you who join our today a bit later, I want to introduce myself again. My name is Yuan and I'm a lecturer in Media Studies at the School of Humanities, Media and Creative Communication at Massey University. Today, I'm going to give you a brief overview of digital media and show you some key concepts and ideas you need to know for an understanding of what exactly is digital media. So first, I want to throw this question to you guys. When you hear the term digital media, what would you think of? So I've been told that you guys really like interacting with the instructor. So anybody wants to share their ideas with me? And I'm not sure how this interaction can go on. Can I just, throw this question to the students? Or if anyone wants to answer this question, feel free just to maybe to unmute yourself.
Hello các em, có bạn nào biết trả lời cho câu hỏi của cô là khi mà các em nghe đến cái digital media thì các em nghĩ đến cái gì đầu tiên? Các em nghĩ về những cái gì? Thì bạn nào có thể raise your hand ha, giơ tay lên hoặc là chat in the chat box hoặc là trả lời vô cái chat box để cô đọc nha.
One student typing marketing.
Phan Lê Hà My raise her hand. Hi, Phan Lê Hà My, could you please start?
Yes.
Yes, please talk.
So when I hear the term digital media, I think about social media.
Social media. Yeah, yes. That's good. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, social media is probably what comes to people's mind first. Or any other things, like either more particular example, like are you guys going to think of particular social media or other stuff? Well, all right, so whenever you want to share your idea, you can just raise your hand and I think we can coordinate to help you speak in a class. But I think maybe this question is a bit broad because you probably can think of a lot of stuff when you hear the word digital media, right? But I guess perhaps for most of you, the term digital media would remind you of computers, mobile phones, or social networking sites like the student just said. And the social media actually also include a lot of different venues such as Facebook and Twitter. And I know in Vietnam, Zalo is quite popular, and I guess Zalo is pretty similar to WhatsApp and WeChat, right? So these examples, of course, show how the digital technologies have brought efficiency, convenience, and fun to our communication, work, study, and everyday life. But they seem to be quite different, right? They are separate sites, they're separate technologies. How can we understand these different technologies and apps as a whole in a broad name of digital media? What are the similarities among them that make them distinct from other traditional media like television or radio? So this is a question that I'm going to dig a bit deeper today. So first, let's give some definitions of digital. What does digital mean? So the word digital seems ubiquitous and in practice gets tied to electronic stuff. I'm not sure about you guys, but maybe for me, before I really enter this area, when I see the word digital, I only think of electronic stuff. But actually, digital means that something is made up of countable and separate units. So it's quite abstract, but don't worry, I'll give you some more examples. And another way to understand digital is that digital media is often referred to as being opposed to analog media, such as traditional radio and television. Analog media is composed of continuous variations rather than those discrete and countable units. And let me give you some example to illustrate what digital actually means. A good example of how digital and analog media differ comes in the form of photography. So maybe you're too young to get to know something that is different from digital photography, which is film photography. Are you guys familiar with film photography? So if you see the picture on the right top of the slide, you know what is film photography. Usually a film photograph is an image composed of a continuous series of tones based on photochemical process. So it's like a chemical process, and it doesn't have any form of basic unit that it can be broken down into. And this is quite different from a digital photograph, which actually you can see from the other two images on the slide. And digital photograph is composed of a given number of pixels. And pixels are tiny squares that become distinctly visible when we zoom into a low resolution digital image. So for example, for the digital images that you can see from the slide, the image below the bird is actually shows you the pixels. So if you zoom the image of bird, you really zoom it in, you will see, those discrete units. And those discrete units are what we actually mean by the digital. And we can also think of another example, which is photocopier. We actually have old-fashioned conventional photocopier and digital photocopier. If you use the traditional photocopier, after you make many copies, it actually gets muddy. All right. I'm not sure if you have the experience using traditional photocopier. But theoretically, you can actually copy a digital document forever, right? So no matter how many times you copy a digital copy, it will be the same. Analog photocopier doesn't have this flexibility. And if you use an analog photocopier, copying a copy of a document or an image leads to a worse version every time you take a step further from the original. So that is kind of the difference between analog and digital media. And I hope this is one way that you can understand why digital, is special. But we can always, because we have a Q&A section, if you still want me to further clarify that, we can discuss about that a bit more in the Q&A section. And there's also some other ways of defining digital. So digital also means the numerical representation of information. So in digital media, as this image shows, information is stored as binary code of either 1 or 0. So apart from discrete units, numerical representation of information is another key characteristic of the digital. And in this sense, the information and content you can access via digital technology, such as music, images, videos, and documents, are all data. All right? And the fact that computers can treat music, images, videos, documents, and three-dimensional models exactly the same way because they are all data is the foundation of convergence culture. So this term convergence cultures deals with the trend that many different and diverse form of media now are going into a single platform, which is usually a digital technology. So I think this image actually help you better understand the definition of convergence culture. In convergence culture, whereas previously we had a range of different physical media forms. For example, we have audio cassettes and tape for music and audio. We have film photographs for film or television recordings. We have newspapers, books, and magazines for text. Nowadays, in the digital age, all of these different media forms, along with newer born digital forms such as video games, web pages, and software applications, can all be stored as binary code on the same disk and is readable by the same hardware. So nowadays, you don't have to have different technologies to have different functions, right? You only need one laptop, one computer, or one tablet, and you can do all different kinds of things with the same device. So with a tablet, for example, you can read newspaper, you can listen to music, you can watch videos, you can search online. So you can do a lot of different things with a single device. So that is the core idea of convergence culture. And next, I'll actually discuss how digital media can be studied from several different perspectives. So if you come to Massey, let's say, to take a digital media course, what are some of the perspectives that you will take? First of all, digital media can be studied or can be understood as tools. So digital media technologies, they can be seen as tools. And in many ways, the use of tools and technology is what defines human beings. And in this sense, digital media are not that different from, very traditional tools such as hammers. And we can achieve things with tools that we can't achieve without them. And this is probably easy to understand when it comes to more conventional tools such as hammers, right? For hammers, the fact that we accomplish things with them, we'd have a hard time doing without them is pretty obvious. But we need to consider computers through the same dynamic. What can computers let us achieve that we can't do without them? So what do you guys think about this question? Before I really come to a conclusion, I wonder, how you guys will answer this question. What do you think computers have brought to us that otherwise we really cannot do? Anybody wants to share their idea?
Có bạn nào biết cái câu trả lời cho câu hỏi của cô không? Theo các bạn thì có bất kỳ một cái gì đó. Okay, Vi. Oh, that's great. Vi, please turn on your mic.
I think it is immediate connection.
Yeah, human connection. So digital media, such as especially mobile phones, can actually help us connect with other people, right? If they have the same device. That's a great idea. And I think as a communication tool, this is probably the most important function of digital media. Any other things you can think of? So maybe you can think about what you usually do with your computers. What do you usually do with your cell phone? So maybe you guys mostly use that for social media, for talking to people. All right. So if you guys don't have other,
Quyên, em nói đi em.
Yeah, I think
Quyên, em mở mic lên.
that computers can. Yeah, I think that computer can help us to collect our data and protect it, because our brain cannot keep a lot at once.
Yes, great idea. So of course, digital media, because we've just talked about how, everything in digital media is data, right? And so digital technology can help us process and store data, or in other words, it actually helps us get information, right? If you want to know anything, you turn to your computer or mobile phone. If you want to know about the weather, you want to know about news, or you want to know about Massey University, you can turn to your digital technology. So in that sense, it actually gives us information. So what else? What else do you do?
We have one comment in the chat box, so she answered,
okay.
I might play game and watch movie when they're
Yes.
using the laptop or the mobile phone.
Yes, that's well, you guys actually have summarized what I want to tell you guys. Yeah, so another important way that we use digital media is for entertainment, right? So we use them to actually consume traditional media. So we can watch movie, watch television shows, or play video games via digital media. I see another comment in terms of how digital media can help us contact people with people from every place in the world. So that is very important. That actually illustrates what we are doing now, right? I think this class will be impossible if we don't have digital technology. Great. And then I usually find some learning group. Yes. So again, I think this comment also is very pertinent to my discussion about how digital media help us access information. So I think you guys actually have a very good brainstorm practices, thinking about what we usually do with digital media, and especially how computers help us do something we otherwise cannot do. All right, is there any more comments? Okay, so I'm actually summarize some functions of computers in 3 terms, but you guys have actually already summarized them all. So information access is, how we usually use computers and how computers can connect us to a vast repository of information. And then we can also use computers for content production, which means we can record audio, video, and make images using computers. We can, of course, consume those media forms. We can also watch videos, listen to music using digital media. And then, most importantly, we also use computers for human connection. So that means that we can actually communicate, we can interact, talk with people using computers. So in summary, computers actually have a number of affordances which depart from previous models of mass media. And computers can make media production and distribution much quicker and easier. They can also allow more people to participate in making media. So this is the way that we can understand digital media as tools, because they enable something that otherwise we cannot achieve. And second, in digital media courses, we also explore digital media imaginaries. I'm not sure if you understand what imaginaries mean. So digital media imaginaries, this phrase refers to the various cultural fantasies, fascinations, and anxieties that circulate around digital media. In other words, digital media imaginaries grapple with the question of how we imagine digital media. If this still sounds very abstract to you, don't worry. I can actually give you a very concrete example. So the question of digital imaginaries can start with a very simple question, such as, has digital media made the world a better or worse place? So again, I want to throw this question to you guys. So what do you guys think of this? Any idea on this? Do you think with digital media, our world has become a better place or a worse one? So I think you can just raise your hand. Yes, I've seen. Sorry, I feel like I cannot really correctly pronounce your name, but if
yeah, Thiên Tài. Okay, Thiên Tài, please. please share your idea first, and then Đặng Vi will share your idea as well.
I think in this time, the COVID-19 pandemic is in all over the world, and I think digital media contribute greatly in em nói bằng tiếng Việt được không ạ?
Okay, em có thể nói tiếng Việt đi để chị translate cho.
Yeah. Trong thời điểm hiện tại thì dịch Covid-19 đang hoành hành trên khắp thế giới và cả Việt Nam, thì em nghĩ rằng khi công nghệ số này đóng một vai trò rất lớn trong việc mà có thể lan tỏa được cái cách phòng chống dịch đến cho mọi người, và những cái sản phẩm để mọi người có thể dùng để phòng chống dịch mà không cần phải không phải ra khỏi nhà để đó là quan điểm của em.
Có nghĩa ý em là cái digital media này nó tạo ra sản phẩm, vậy sản phẩm là gì chị chưa hiểu cái khúc đó lắm.
Không phải, ý em là có thể là lan tỏa được mọi người rằng nghĩa là lan tỏa được mọi người những cách phòng chống dịch, và có những sản phẩm mới để mình có thể dùng để phòng chống dịch, để mọi người có thể dùng. Và đó
okay.
Vâng.
So for his idea, he think that thanks to the social media, the digital media, the COVID-19 is like getting better, that we are going to stay at home and using the social media in order to connect with other people. And then thanks to those digital media, we also promote ways in order to keep our health safe, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a great point, because you actually think about the context. So because this is a very broad question, but you have done a good job thinking about how in different situations digital media actually play different roles. Right. So in the particular era, in a particular context of the pandemic, digital media is particularly helpful. Does that make sense? So, because this is a quite universal question, but if we really think about what we are experiencing now, we will admit, it's very supportive, because with it, because, with the pandemic, probably we have to undergo lockdown anyway, but because of the digital media, our work and study can still continue. And in terms of that, it's quite helpful. And maybe we will say under the pandemic, digital media has made a world, a less worse place, because without it, I think it will be a disaster with COVID-19. That's a great point. Thank you.
We still have another student.
Yeah, another student.
Hi, Đặng Vi, could you please turn on your mic and share your points of view?
Yes. Hi, I believe that digital marketing has created a better world, because it helped me get more information about online jobs. In short, it creates more jobs, but digital marketing also leads to many cyberbullying. So
I also have an point of views. In my opinion, digital media make the world worse, because nowadays, yes, many people in the internet, they use keyboard, keyboard hero. They are body shaming, they attack other people on the social media. So I think that digital media also had its worst side.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for both of you. So I think digital media really reflects this idea of the two sides of a sword, or a coin has two sides, right? So it has it both has pros and cons. So I think both of you mentioned this the issue of cyberbullying. So it kind of opens up a new space for those jerky people to insult and to hurt other people. So that is something that we might need to care more about. right? But like the student said, there's also the positive side in terms of how digital media, opens up new possibilities for job searching, and even for this class, right? So I think even the promotion of our demo class is through online, through digital media. So I think it's very great to see you guys, realize the both the positive and negative sides of digital media. So this is actually the core of digital imaginaries. And to answer this question, it's really hard for us just to say yes or no. So that's why I'm actually summarizing two different sides on this question. So on the one hand, there is the utopian vision. So I guess you guys understand what utopian means. Utopian means, optimistic, the positive. So there is this positive and utopian vision that the internet and digital media facilitate democratic communication, organization, mobilization, and participation, as in, for example, certain readings of the Me Too movement. So there's also the positive belief that the internet the internet fosters communities, creating new opportunities and mechanisms for us to connect with each other. So I think this utopian imaginary of digital media is well reflected from the image that I just showed you. So it illustrates how digital media connects us. It creates new communities. It creates a lot of new possibilities. However, on the other hand, there is the dystopian vision. Dystopian means, negative, sad, bad. So it mainly deals with the cons of the digital media. So the dystopian vision understands digital media as fomenting political division, creating political echo chambers that block our ability to encounter and absorb alternative voices. So it basically means that with digital media, we are more likely to only communicate with people with the same ideas with us. So it doesn't really help us to communicate with people who are different from us. We just, create our own small circle or communities within which, existing ideas are reinforced. So, and a lot of people don't see this as a good trend, because the utopian vision says that digital media actually make us more open, but in fact, even online, we tend to find the small circle that we feel comfortable in, right? And there's also this very kind of pessimistic belief that the internet leads to isolation, which I think is well reflected from this image on the right side of the slide. So this means that when we are all looking at our mobile phones, even we are together, even we are physically together, we stop actually interacting with each other. Right? Although we have been talking about how digital media help us connect with each other, but maybe you can also think about your own experience. There are a lot of circumstances in which we are with a lot of people, but everyone is looking at their cell phone. So, and as a result, digital media actually prevent us from talking to each other. Right? So this is the dystopian vision about digital media. So basically, utopian vision thinks that digital media has made the world a better place, while dystopian vision thinks digital media has made the world a worse place, has brought a lot of negative stuff. So this is digital media imaginaries. And the third way digital media can be studied is through a historical perspective. So we also study digital media in terms of its history. So I'm actually listing some key events. throughout the digital histories. First, early users of digital technologies were American universities and Defense Department in the 1970s. So they built internal networks of communication such as APRANET and MailNet. So these networks are pretty similar to the internet that we are using today, but it's, it's internal. It's only among those universities or the Defense Department. It's not open to the public. But the technology and the model they used were actually the foundation of the internet that we are using today. So, and this is actually the image of how American universities were connected through APRANET in the 1970s. And in 1983, we saw the birth of civilian internet. So this is the internet in a broader sense, and it resembles what we are using today. And in the 1990s, Sir Tim Berners-Lee invented World Wide Web. So he is a British scientist. He actually appeared in the Olympic opening ceremony in 2012. And here, I actually want to draw your attention to the differences between the internet and the World Wide Web. Although in everyday life, we seem to often use those terms interchangeably, they actually mean two different things. So internet means a global system of interconnected computer networks. Internet is the network, and in other words, it is a form of infrastructure. And on the other hand, World Wide Web refers to a global collection of documents and resources linked by hypertext. So in other words, it is a way of accessing information through the medium of the internet. So internet is the platform, it is the infrastructure that makes World Wide Web possible. So you can also understand World Wide Web as part of the internet. So let's continue with digital histories. In the 1990s, the internet was increasingly used for commercial purposes, which we also call the era of Web 1.0. And this was the time when the internet became part of everyday media. So this is the time when we as ordinary people increasingly started to use the internet. And another important historical moment in the digital media histories is after 2010. So, because after 2010, we enter the era of Web 2.0. So what does Web 2.0 means? This means the websites that emphasize on user-generated content, ease of use, and participatory culture. So in Web 2.0, we are not only digital media consumers or users, but increasingly become the producers of digital media content. So for example, the social media that we are using every day now, like Zello, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tumblr, all those medias are Web 2.0 websites, because when we use those platforms, we are actually creating the content, right? So those apps, those social media, they don't really provide content for us. They only have the platform. They only offer us the platform, but we create the content by ourselves, and then we exchange and distribute those content. All right, so this is from the APRANET to World Wide Web to Web 1.0 and 2.0. This is a brief history of digital media. And finally, digital media can also be studied in terms of how it alters and influences society and culture. So in digital media courses, we also study the cultures of digital media. And researchers interested in examining relationships between media and culture as lived experience have focused on a wide range of issues. For example, they have examined how our identities are formed, challenged, and sustained. And they have also examined how social relationships are formed and changed via digital media. Researchers has also explored relationships between media and sociality, working life, and leisure practices. In addition, there are increasing concerns about how social inequality between different groups might be challenged or reinforced through digital media use. A contemporary example of this, which you might be familiar with, would be the Black Lives Matter movement, which was launched on platforms like Twitter in the United States after a series of high-profile police shootings. Another similar example would be the Me Too movement, focused on contesting sexual harassment in the workplace, which has also relied on social media. Both of these movements have involved cultural issues of power based on identity. And this is pretty much what I want to tell you about digital media today. Before I move to the next part of this demo class, I wonder if you guys have any questions or whether there's anything you want me to further clarify from the content that I've covered. So maybe you guys probably need some time to absorb the content and think about what you want to ask me. So I'll actually have another discussion about the media studies program at Massey. So maybe you can think for a while what kind of questions you want to ask me, because I have another Q&A section at the end of the class. So feel free to type your question if you can think of any in the chat box. So at the end of the class, I'll go back to your questions. Okay. All right, so I've actually been talking about digital media a lot. Of course, digital media is a crucial part of media studies, but what else will you study if you come to Massey University for media studies? So digital media is part of the media studies, but there are also other things you can learn if you major in this area. At the heart of media studies is the idea that the media are one of the most important forces shaping our world today. And in order to make sense of our world, to thrive in it, to change it, it is absolutely essential to understand how media work and what they do. In the media studies program, you are going to think about media in terms of all different parts of our society, from culture and politics to technology and economics. We are interested in how creativity connects to the corporate world, or how critical thinking can build stronger communities. We're interested in how changes in communication technologies change the sorts of stories we tell, and how that can in turn affect how we understand the world and one another. We are interested in the different ways audiences respond to media messages, how that can shift how advertisers and marketers try to engage with them, and which in turn affects the economic imperatives that shape our media landscape and the types of jobs you will do in the future. In summary, media studies is about preparing you to find your way in an increasingly mediated world. And here are a couple of skills you will acquire if you major in media studies. And this is what we call our graduate profile. This is what we promise to teach you what you should be able to do by the time you finish. For example, if you major in media studies, you will learn how to communicate using a range of media, how to critically interpret and explain media, how to apply knowledge of the media in public and professional dialogues, how to analyze formal, aesthetic, and technical aspects of media, how to explain the relationship between media and its social, cultural, and historical contexts. You will also understand how economic, technological, industrial, and other contextual factors influence the production, distribution, and consumption of media, how audiences engage with and use media, and how the media maintain, challenge, and address the distribution of power and knowledge in society. But how do we get there? So we have designed a variety of courses that help you get those media skills. So for example, there are two compulsory courses that you have to take if you major in media studies: Introduction to Media Studies and Digital Media Theory and Practice. And this is what you usually study in the first year. And by the way, I actually teach Introduction to Media Studies at Massey. So if you come to Massey to study media studies, I'll probably be the first teacher you get to know. And in the second year, you will take a bunch of critical courses that are designed to give you a solid base in some of the key areas in media studies. For example, you can choose to take advertising and consumer society, popular culture and media, screen studies, which actually deals with all the media that have screens, like film, television, or online television or computers. And you can also choose digital media production. So that is a very production-based courses which teach you how to make media and documentary cinema. And in the third year, there are more diverse, precise options based on your interests. You can actually choose a bunch of elective courses that are tailored to your personal, more specific interests. To give you a sense of the options, here are what we are teaching in the third year. So for example, there are courses like New Zealand cinema, script writing, global media cultures, indie media in the information age, and digital media production too. So this course is actually based on digital media production that you will learn in the second year. If you're really into media production, you can continue your journey. And global media cultures is actually what I am teaching, which actually introduce you to media globalization. And also, because our courses, we have to admit that mostly are about American and Western media, but in global media cultures, you will actually be exposed to a lot of different media genres from the other parts of the world, including those pop culture and media forms from East Asia and maybe even in Vietnam. So, and in addition to that, we also have trauma and media, social media and digital culture, gender and race in media, popular music studies, and humor and media. So I'm actually teaching social media and digital culture. So if you are interested in today's topic, you'll probably find that course particularly interesting. So another thing you might wonder is what jobs you will get with a media studies degree, right? So after studying all those courses, what can you do in the future? So we actually have media studies graduates in a range of industries, and there are a variety of jobs you can consider. For example, you can become social and digital media advisors or policy analysts and advisors. You can also work in advertising, PR and marketing, and journalism. You can also become a teacher. If you want to become an academics, you can teach media courses or media productions, right? You can also work in the film and TV industries. And for example, New Zealand actually has a very thriving film industry, especially in Wellington. It deals with a lot of the post-production of global films. So that is actually a very promising career to consider. You can also become a web content creators and more. So there are a lot of jobs you can actually take after you get a degree in media studies. All right, so this is like my brief introduction of the media studies program at Massey Universities. So, and this actually comes to an end of my class today. So again, any questions? Let me see if there's any questions in the chat box.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
My question is, should I earn mostly money on social media? And what will happen if more and more people prefer working online rather than doing hard physical work?
So thank you. So do you mean that is it a question about the digital media, or it's a question about your job? Like, do you mean that you wonder if work in the digital media industry can make money?
Thế em nói tiếng Việt luôn mà. Em muốn hỏi là có phải là chúng ta nên hoàn toàn làm việc online không? Và sẽ thế nào nếu càng ngày càng nhiều người thích kiểu làm việc online vậy? Và không thích làm những việc nặng nhọc như làm công nhân?
So she's wondering that the social media is now strongly developing, and then she wondered that in the future that the people may switch from traditional working to online only, and there's no one wants to work in like the labor work, you know.
So she's worried about that, right?
Yes.
Or is she asking me how to solve this problem?
She's like wondering about the problem.
Well, this is actually a very interesting question, but it's also a broad question that is probably hard to fully answer just today. But I will say, well, if you wish to work in the digital media industry, that is a very good thing, right? You have this ambition. But in reality, the conditions, our material conditions, actually will prevent us actually from pursuing our actual goals. It's not that easy. The world doesn't work like I want to do something and I can do it. The reality is probably more cruel than that. So what I mean is that in reality, a lot of people, this actually deals with social class, and I'm not sure if the students here will understand what social class means. But what I mean is that in reality, a lot of people, they probably don't have the material conditions and educational and economic resources to easily become someone who can work in the digital media industries. So if you are worried that who will undertake the manual labor, I will say, because the society is structured in a particular way, that this is less likely to happen. This is not very likely to happen because I feel like it's probably, maybe it's quite difficult to understand for the students, but it's like, even you have a dream, let's say, even if you have a dream to become a digital media designer, but let's say if you are from a very poor family, and if your parents do not have this economic and financial resources to support you to go to the university to study skills required for the digital media industries, you cannot realize your dream. And the problem of our world is that there are a lot of people who cannot really have the resources required to become what they want. So for me, I think the problem that we need to consider is not who will undertake those manual jobs, those jobs that are essential to our society but doesn't earn a lot. What we need to consider more is that why there's still so many people who don't have the resources to become, let's say, a web designer if they wish. So it's like, the material condition, there are a lot of physical and social, cultural, economic constraints that that don't allow people to do whatever they want to do. So for me, I don't think this will be a real problem, but the fact that it will never become a problem is actually a problem. I'm not sure if it makes sense. Yeah, but this is what I can offer. This is how I understand the problem. So because presently, I think if this becomes a problem, it actually means our world is much better, because everyone has the resources, everyone can do what they can do. But the reality is not like that. Like working class people, for example, even if they want to become web designer, they cannot do it. All right, thank you. I saw another student
Yes.
raise their hand.
Khoa Nguyễn, could you please turn on your mic, please?
Hello.
Hi.
May I ask a question? What is the advantage and disadvantage of marketing PR employer, and what is the final destination of PR marketing employer in a company, in a business company?
Okay. That's a good question. So, so first of all, PR and marketing, they are industries themselves. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to work in a company, maybe in other industries, to do PR and marketing. There are a lot of professional PR companies. So it's actually a very prosperous industry, because everyone So marketing is so essential for our economy, because if you let's say if you manufacture a product and you want to sell it, so you require marketing, right? And so even for today's class, it's actually a marketing practice, because like I try to buy this class, Massey University, and including myself, we are trying to market Massey University so that you guys can come to study with us, right? So marketing is actually everywhere. It's a core to our economy and society. If the economy needs to be run, we have to have people who can promote stuff, who can promote either products or service, right? So we are actually marketing Massey University's and media studies program today. So you don't have to worry that you cannot find jobs. I don't because it's actually if you guys know the service sector, because PR and marketing belongs to what is called as the service sector, which is different from manufacture, right? In manufacture, you kind of produce things, but marketing and PR, you don't really produce concrete stuff, but you promote them. So the service sector is nowadays the biggest sector in the economy of a lot of countries, I think, including Vietnam, because I know Vietnam is undergoing very rapid economic development and drastic social transition. Usually this transition is to the service sector. So I believe, well, it depends. If you come to Massey, maybe you want to go back to Vietnam. So I believe, marketing and PR has a very bright future, because that is what the society will increasingly focus on in the future when it becomes industrialized. Yeah.
So if you say, as you say, it is better to work, not work in a company, and will work in an agency will be better for a PR marketing.
Yeah, so there are different options. So for example, there are professional PR agencies. Like for example, VNTalent. In some sense, it is a marketing organization. Like, if I understand correctly, maybe I'm wrong, please correct me. But because what we are doing today is basically a marketing endeavor. Right, so it's everywhere. It's very ubiquitous. So VNTalent. So maybe after you study media studies, you can work in VNTalent. So that is like a kind of professional marketing firm. But even in companies that are in the more traditional economic sectors, such as manufacturing companies, they also have PR departments. Yeah, so I think there will be a lot of things you can do.
There are some students that they chat with me and then have questions. First of all, she asked where she can study digital media. I think that you answer Massey University, of course.
Yes.
So she asked, what are the skills that she needs to prepare in order to study good in digital media?
That's a very good question, and I think it's great for her to think about this kind of thing so early, like to get prepared. Well, because I think our program is designed in a way that teach you from the very beginning. So our assumption is not that you need to be trained in advance, like you need to get additional training before entering our program. So our assumption is that you have the curiosity about digital media, and then you start from zero with us. So that's why we have 3 years and we have different level of courses that take you through the journey. So basically, I think what I can tell you is that let's take, if you want to study at Massey University, let's say about digital media, what you need to get ready for is first, maybe you need to graduate from high school, right? You need to have your high school qualification. And second, as an international student, you need to get prepared for English. So you would need to make sure that if you come and study with us, you can understand what I'm talking about. For example, in the lecture, that is very key. And also, maybe you need to get more ready about interacting with the professors in English. But I don't think this is something that needs to be worried even before starting, because communication skills get improved along the way. And I think maybe for production, if you're really into production training, maybe you can try to get familiar with some of the production softwares and programs before really starting learning digital media. But even that is not a prerequisite. This is only recommended, I say, because our philosophy is that you are trained with us. So we are not like an advanced kind of institution which require you have certain qualification even before joining us. I think like the basic thing you need to know is some communication skills that will guarantee that when you come, you will understand what we are teaching. Yeah. And maybe trying to get familiar with some softwares and programs about production. Yeah.
Yes, that's great. The next question is that if I do not study in marketing, can I work in digital marketing?
That's a good question. But I wonder, if you really want to work in digital marketing, why don't you just major in digital marketing? And it's case by case. I'm going to actually stop sharing because I don't know. So besides digital marketing, what do you want to major? Because that actually, like, different majors actually make a huge difference, right? Let's say if you major in computer science and but then you want to work in digital marketing, I think that is still possible. Because you probably know some coding skills, you probably know how to build up a website, which are core skills required for a job in digital marketing. But let's say if you major in art history, well, maybe it's still possible for you to find a job in digital marketing, but it's not that relevant. You know what I mean? Or if you major in chemistry and then you say you want to find a job in digital marketing, you know, it's maybe not that possible. So it really depends on which alternative major you want to take. So yes, if let's say if you come to the business school at Massey and you major in finance, I think it's also possible to get a job in digital marketing. But I know Massey University has a degree in digital marketing. So if you really want to work in that industry, why not just study that? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I have another question from a student. How can I get more unique media advertising ideas?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe come to Massey to study. To be honest, because I'm actually dealing more with I'm actually researching about pop culture and digital media. I'm not a person who deals with advertising idea. So professionally speaking, I'm not a person who can teach you advertising skills. Yeah, because I think I'm not that creative, but I think this is actually a very core skills that you will learn. You will get trained if you major in one of the programs. So because in media studies we have some specialties, we have other staff member who are specialized in that area, not me, but other people. So, and this is actually you will learn what you will learn, right? If you take the university degree, I guess most of you are still high school students. So of course you probably don't know how to have more creative ideas, but this is actually a skill that you get trained if you come to the university.
Okay, I see Yuan raised her hand for quite a long time. Yuan, could you please turn on your mic and share your idea, please?
Yes. What should be based on to create a marketing platforms on social networks, and how to create content that attracts people on social media? That's my question.
So are you asking how to kind of design an attractive website?
Yes, and besides that, what personalities should we have to study digital media?
What personalities?
Yes.
Well, the first question, how to make a website more attractive? Again, we have a digital production course, digital media theory and practice. In that course, we will actually teach you how to design a website. So because this is actually a very big topic, it's hard for me to exhaust all the suggestions here. I can of course give you some suggestions in terms of how you need to make, if you want to make your website more appealing, of course you have to turn to a lot of visual aids, right? And for example, if your website is very heavy in text, it's very distracting and it will hardly attract any people to visit it. But if you actually lay out your website visually and intersect some text in it, it will become more user friendly. And there are actually particular websites and programs that help you build websites. You don't have to build from the scratch. And from those programs, they actually have different layouts already designed for you. So it's actually quite easy. And you can, of course, also insert videos, audios. But I know a key a key thing is that don't make your website full of texts. And also another thing, which is about aesthetics, is actually what fonts, for example, what font and color you have for your text also make a huge difference. You know, certain colors actually will make the readers feel more comfortable. Usually we will avoid using bright colors for your text. For example, if you have a website and you have an article on it and you set the color as bright pink, and then you set a green background for your website, so that's very unattractive. Because you know it's a very terrible experience for the readers to actually visit your website. A better choice will probably be, let's say, black text and gray background and or white background, so that makes people feel more comfortable. So these are the small tips that I can give you. But if you take the digital media course, there are thousands of those tips that you will learn. And about for your second question, I have to say I don't quite understand that. I'm not sure if you mean what personalities you need to have in order to work for social media, or in order to be a social media user. If you just wonder how to become a social media user, I think you just need to be yourself. You don't have to develop like artificially certain personalities to accommodate the world. You need to be yourself, and social media is a platform that allow you to express who you really are, and that is considered as a positive side of social media. So yeah, I don't think you need to change yourself to become a social media user. But if you want to work in the social media industries, well, to be honest, I'm a very romantic, I'm a very idealist person. I don't think you know, you need to, I always think you need to be yourself no matter what job you get and how you live your life. You need to be who you are, who you truly are. And I think an ideal professional setting is that, you know, no matter what personality you have, you'll find your way. Yeah, well, I'm very honest, that's what I really think. But if you really want to ask me what personality you need to have to work for social media, I think good communication skills will be essential. Although I don't think, because I always think personality doesn't have wrong and right. There are no personality which is better than the others. I can only say there are certain skills you need to have, like communication skills, language skills, you probably need to have. But personality is personal, and you should be authentic. You should be who you are. Yes.
I think that this question is for Miss Linda. Does Massey University offer 100% scholarship for business administrations or digital marketing?
The scholarships that we have at Massey for any undergraduate degree would be 10,000 New Zealand dollars for the first year of study, and $10,000 is, I'll just remind myself how much that is in US dollars, just one moment.
No worry, I will change it into Vietnamese. Into
yeah,
Vietnam
it's or 7,000 US dollars for the first year, and then for every subsequent year it's 3,500 US dollars. So that goes a long way towards your tuition fee, but it doesn't cover all the tuition fee. It's not 100% scholarship, but a good amount.
Ok, vậy là trường hiện tại thì sẽ không có học bổng toàn phần 100%, tuy nhiên là trường vẫn sẽ có 10.000 đô New Zealand, tương đương với khoảng 192 triệu cho năm đầu tiên. Sorry, Linda, how much for the second year? Is that 3,500?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
New Zealand dollar?
No, that's US dollars.
Và sau đó thì đối với lại năm thứ hai thì chúng ta sẽ được là 3.500 đô Mỹ, tương đương với khoảng 80.500.000 đồng. Thì thật ra học bổng này thì không phải là học bổng 100%, nhưng mà chắc chắn vẫn sẽ hỗ trợ được các bạn rất là nhiều trong toàn khóa học của mình nha các bạn ơi. Từ năm thứ hai trở về sau thì sẽ là 3.500 đô Mỹ. Okay, so because like the limited of time, I will try to have some questions. One student asked, she intends to study in China for digital media. Do you think that China is a good choice in order to study this major? And how about the internship opportunities and job opportunities?
Is this question for me?
I think that.
Okay, if you ask me, I of course will encourage you to come to Massey, right? So if you really ask me if China is a good place to study digital media, to be honest, I have left China for quite a few years. And when I was in China, because I was doing my bachelor in China, when I was in China, digital media was not a big thing. So I'm sorry, I really cannot tell you if China is a good place to study digital media. But what I know is that China has a big market and job market for digital media, because China has a lot of big digital media conglomerates like Alibaba and Huawei and Tencent and Tencent. So a lot of companies. So I think China is a good place to work for digital media, but the thing is that you need to get some skills first, right? And one thing that China is really Chinese companies now really care is international experience, and especially intercultural experiences. So I think they will really like job applicants who have different cultural backgrounds, who also have language advantages. So for example, if you're bilingual or even trilingual, so that would be very helpful. So I think my suggestion will be, why not come to Massey to study digital media and then try to find a job in China to find internship. I think internship opportunity are plenty in China, but I think if you have a degree from an English-speaking universities, that is actually an advantage if you want to work for digital industries, not only in China, but even in Vietnam. But if you ask me if China is a good place to study digital media, I'll need to do my research. Yes, I will of course encourage you to come to our university. Thank you.
Thật ra mọi người ơi, tại vì là cô Yuan, cô mặc dù là cô là người có gốc Trung Quốc, người Hoa, nhưng mà cô đã đi du học ở bên New Zealand và ở bên New Zealand rất là lâu rồi, từ khi cô học xong đại học, nên là về cái việc thị trường lao động cũng như là cái việc mà các cái công ty về truyền thông hoặc là về digital media của bên Trung Quốc như thế nào thì cô sẽ không cập nhật được theo cái thông tin mới nhất. Nên là nếu mà các bạn hỏi cô câu này thì chắc là cô vẫn sẽ nghiêng về New Zealand hơn, vì cô đang và đã học ở đây rồi. Thôi thì vì cái thời gian của chúng ta nó có hạn, nên là chị rất là tiếc nếu như mà các bạn có các câu hỏi mà chưa có thể đặt được. Bây giờ thì chúng ta sẽ sang cái phần cuối cùng của chúng ta ngày hôm nay, đó chính là phần chơi Kahoot để mà nhận cái phần thưởng. Ok, bây giờ thì chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu với phần.
Okay, chị hiện tại. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen so all you guys can see my screen now. It's a Kahoot game.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, rồi các bạn ơi, nếu mà các bạn hiện tại đang join cái lớp demo class này bằng laptop thì các bạn có thể lấy điện thoại ra để các mình join in ha. Rồi với những bạn nào mình chưa biết game này chơi như thế nào thì các bạn sẽ truy cập vô đường link chị Nhung sẽ gửi vô trong phần chat box. đường link là Play Kahoot Game. Đây, đường link nó sẽ là chị Nhung có thể gửi lên trên phần chatbot cho các bạn học sinh nhé.
Chị gửi rồi Lam ơi. Các em vui lòng nhấn vào cái đường link này hoặc là nhập vào trong cái trình duyệt web ở trên điện thoại của các em nha, để mà mình có thể tham gia cái phần này. Kahoot.it, mình nhập vào trình duyệt web. Các em có thể sử dụng tên thật của mình để mà một hồi có dính thì có trúng thưởng thì còn nhận quà nha. Sau đó nhập mã PIN là 8833977. Rồi.
Cái bạn này. Ok. Rồi các bạn với những bạn nào mà các bạn chưa biết chơi game Kahoot này thì chị sẽ hướng dẫn ha. Thì trên màn hình của chị, lý do tại sao là chị bảo các bạn là nên chơi bằng điện thoại thì tại vì trên màn hình của chị, lát nữa chị sẽ share screen thì nó sẽ hiển thị câu hỏi ở đây. Chị sẽ monitor. Nó sẽ hiển thị câu hỏi ở đây và mình sẽ có 4 đáp án trả lời là A, B, C, D. Tuy nhiên phần câu hỏi nó sẽ hiển thị lên cái màn hình mà các bạn đang nhìn đây. Còn phần trả lời nó sẽ là bên trong điện thoại của các bạn, thì nó sẽ có màu tương ứng là màu hồng tương ứng với một câu trả lời ví dụ như là A, màu xanh dương tương ứng với câu trả lời là B. Kế tiếp như vậy thì mình sẽ có 4 màu, thì cách các bạn trả lời bằng cách các bạn chọn vô cái màu mà có câu hỏi trả lời đúng, câu trả lời đúng. Rồi, có bạn nào còn thắc mắc nữa không? Hiện tại mình đang có 25 bạn học sinh tham dự. Còn bạn nào mà các bạn chưa có thể vô được không? Chị sẽ chờ các bạn khoảng 2 phút nha. Mình sẽ có đủ các bạn và chị sẽ bắt đầu cái game này.
Okay, I think that we should start the game right now.
Okay. So, okay, are you guys ready? So let's get started with the very first questions. Okay, it's not about your answer is correct, but it's not also count as you the fastest one. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, let's go. The very first questions.
Nhìn câu hỏi trên màn hình Zoom nha các bạn. What's the word digital derived from the Latin word digitus literal mean? Ok, các bạn chọn nha.
Okay, and time's up. Okay, for this question, we have 8 students who had the correct answer. Okay, so Miss Yuan, with every question, so if you have anything to share or quick information, so feel free to turn on your mic, or else I will continue with the next question.
Okay, can I add a comment? Because I saw most students chose analog media. So I want to clarify that analog media is what is different from digital media. So analog media is not the digital media. So it is the opposite of the digital media. So, but the correct answer is desecrate units. So yeah, just want to explain a bit more.
Yeah, thank you. So congrats to 8 students. So let's see who was the fastest one. Okay, one. Okay, congratulations. Okay, next one. Two, one, and time's up. Okay, we have 12 students who has the correct answers. Okay, so I will move to the next questions. The ones, one is still on the first ranking. Congratulations. Okay, the third question. And time's up. Okay, oh, we only have 5 students who have the correct answer for these questions. Oh, Miss Yuan, can you have any comments for this one?
Hi, sorry, you forgot to turn on your mic.
Okay, so I'm actually a bit surprised because convergence culture is actually what I talk much in the class. Basically, convergence culture describes that nowadays, because music, images, videos, and documents can be stored in the same device. Like if you have a tablet or you have a mobile phone, you can do all different kind of things, right? You can listen to music, you can watch videos, you can read documents just with one device, with a computer, with a tablet, or cell phone. So when everything is within one device, it is called convergence. So that's why, you know, this sentence actually describes convergence culture. So I've seen digital divide was actually selected by most students. So digital divide actually means so there are differences in the access to digital media. So it actually deals with social inequality. So which means that well, I don't know if you guys know, even in today's world, there are only a small percentage of the world's population who can access the internet. Not everyone can use the internet. So there in some poor countries, for example, the majority of population don't actually have the internet. So this is called digital divide. So the divide means differences. So it means that not everyone can access the internet. Only certain people can.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's see who has the highest ranking now. Okay, congratulations to Phương Thảo. And let's go to the next questions, number 4.
Mọi người lưu ý là not mentioned nha. Which of the following is not mentioned as what we can achieve with the aid of computers at home?
Time's up. Okay, congratulations to 7 students. 17 students. And okay, let's see. Okay, congratulations to Thảo. You're still on the first ranking now. And for the rest, please don't worry because we have about up to 6 questions and we may know as you can achieve the first rank.
Câu này dễ nè mọi người ơi. Which of the following terms refer to a global collection of documents and resources linked by hypertext?
Okay, congratulations to everyone who chose the World Wide Web, and that's the correct questions. Okay, let's go next. Phương Thảo is still on the first ranking. Congratulations. Next one. Oh, wonderful. And we had 21 students with the correct answers. Okay, let's go next. And Phương Thảo on the first ranking again. Okay, next one.
Câu số 7. What potential job can you get if you choose to study media studies at Massey? Potential job là cái nào đây mọi người ơi? Which one?
Congratulations. Oh, we still have about 7 students who didn't get the correct answer. Okay, so don't worry. We have about up to 3 questions more. And once again, so for the potential jobs you can get if you choose to study in Massey University, so you can study PR and marketing or web content creators and digital media advisors. Okay. Number 8. Okay, let's see. Oh, Phương Thảo is still on the first ranking. Okay, number 8.
Chúng ta đang đến những câu hỏi cuối cùng. Massey University has blah 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 campuses in New Zealand cities. Rồi, wow.
This one Miss Linda have mentioned from the beginning, so let's see if you can remember it or not.
Yes.
And the answer is, yeah, that's correct. Massey University has 3 campuses in 3 cities in New Zealand. So they are Auckland campus, Manawatu campus, and Wellington campus. Okay, let's go to the, let's see. Phương Thảo in the first ranking, Yuan the second one, and Chương is the third one. Okay, congratulations. The ninth question.
Massey University entry requirement for NCUK students. Okay.
Oh, congratulations. We have 6 students who have the correct answer. So for these questions, you must have the CCC in 3 academic models and C in the English model. Okay, and are you ready for the very last questions? Okay, let's see. Thảo is still in the first ranking. Congratulations, Thảo. And the last questions is, let's see who has the fastest answer.
Yes, let's see who has the fastest answer. Is this true statement? I have learned some new and informative things from Dr. Yuan. Thank you, Massey University.
And time's up. Oh, we have 2 students who have, maybe they have some concern or the comment. So please feel free to add your comment in the chat box, or you can email Mr. Yuan directly if you have any concern for this lesson today. And let's go to the third ranking. Congratulations, Wing what? The second one is 1, and the first one is Phương Thảo. Congratulations.
This is really great. So hai bạn Phương Thảo and Yuan, you will have a 2 voucher from VNTalent. And then of course for other students who have joined this class but did not get this Kahoot game, no worry. We are going to have a mini game that I share to you. Nếu như mà bạn nào chơi Kahoot game ngày hôm nay mà chưa chiến thắng thì đừng lo nha. Chúng ta vẫn còn cái mini game để nhận máy tính bảng trị giá là 3 triệu đồng lận đó nha. Nên là xíu nữa chị sẽ gửi email cho các em về cách thức tham gia. Nên là các em đừng có lo. Okay. So I would like to send my... Yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I just need to go on for another meeting now. But thank you very much for everything, for organizing everything so well. And thank you, everybody. Bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Miss Linda. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. So it is my pleasure to have all of you here. Thank you, Massey University. Thank you, Dr. Yuan Gong, for here with us today. Thank you, Ms. Lambert. Thank you, Ms. Lam. Thank you for all 46 students are joining with us today. Thank you and see you later.
Thank you, everybody.
Hai bạn nào trúng giải ngày hôm nay thì nhớ là email chị để nhận giải thưởng nha. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.